What's going on, everybody? My name's Kian, and to a lot of people's dismay, Halloween is officially over. So it's November now, a brand new month, and at the beginning of every single month, I like to sit down at my computer, go over my budget for the previous month, see what I did good, see what I did bad, and then craft a new budget for the coming month. So that's what we're gonna be doing in this video here today, and I'm gonna bring you guys along for the ride. So let's jump into the numbers. So I like to start on this page right here, which is my budget dashboard, and it basically gives an all-encompassing view of my budget per month. I already went through and I entered all of my income and expenses on this budget tracking sheet right here, and that automatically gets pulled into this page. So starting off with income from the month of October, we see that I budgeted $3,850 through my normal 9 to 5 job. I actually pulled in just over that, $14 in excess at 3,864. So good news there. And then miscellaneous, I had $747 also come in. A lot of that is like Venmos that I technically paid for somebody and then they just paid me back. So a lot of that's not technically income, but it goes here because that's how I like to run things. I like to just put the whole amount of my expense, and then if people reimburse me for it, I just put it as miscellaneous income. So for the month of October, we have $4,611 to play with. Moving down to the expenses section, a lot of these are set in stone. They don't change from month to month. So let's break them down. Starting with rent, I budgeted $998. That's what I paid. Groceries, $300 a month plus or minus. I ended up spending $302, a little bit over there. For dining, I budgeted $200 a month. I ended up spending $294 a month, which is almost $100 over budget. My excuse for this is I took a trip to New Orleans just this past weekend, and so I did a lot of eating out. I couldn't really meal prep for that. So that's where a lot of this overspending came from, but it's not the end of the world. You got to travel, you got to enjoy your money sometimes. So I'm not too fussed about this. Moving on to the entertainment category, and this is going to need a little bit of an explanation as well. As you can see, I budgeted $100 for the month of October, ended up spending $270, which is kind of a lot compared to what I budgeted. But my excuse for this is I recently started playing online poker and I put $200 into my account just to fund it and get it going. I made some money and then I ended up withdrawing that $200 plus a little profit. Now I'm just playing with house money. But I ended up tracking that $200 still in my entertainment category. And then when I withdrew it, I just put that under my miscellaneous income. So that $747, $200+ of that is my poker withdrawal. So it kind of balances out in that fashion. For miscellaneous, that's also a lot over budget. I budgeted $73, ended up spending $227. Again, a lot of this came from that New Orleans trip, buying goodies. I got a little voodoo doll, did some tarot card reading. All of that was put into this. I also got reimbursed for some of that from the people that I went on the vacation with. And so it's not reflected as really the money that left my account because some of that came back to me in the form of miscellaneous income. Next up is travel. Again, that New Orleans trip, budgeted $200, ended up spending $194. That's going to be like transportation, Ubers, stuff like that. And so under budget there, pretty good. Utilities budgeted $150, spent $145. This bill doesn't change month to month. It's usually around the $150 mark. Then gas, I drive a Prius, so I don't spend that much money on gas. Plus I work from home. So $75 a month is usually my target budget amount, and I usually end up spending quite a bit less than that. This month, $54, usually in the range of $50 to $70 a month. So I like to keep it at 75 just to be safe. Then for gifts, I like to have a little bit of a budget here. I put $50 this month. Didn't end up spending any of it because there's no birthdays or anything like that in October for anybody, any of my close friends or family. So didn't end up spending it, so we got an extra $50 that we can allocate elsewhere. And then subscriptions, this one got a little bit of a change from the previous months. I budgeted $34, which has always been my Spotify subscription and my YouTube premium subscription. But I recently signed up for a gym membership that I'm splitting with my girlfriend, and that is $77 a month combined. And so, but I'm putting it on my card and then she's going to reimburse me again. So it's going to be another one of those things where it's going to end up in the miscellaneous category of my income. So it's going to, moving forward, it's going to be $111 a month instead of that 34. Now that we've covered both the income and the expenses, we get to go into my favorite part, the savings portion. And as we can see on screen, I had 4 buckets that I wanted to put money towards this month: my property fund, my emergency fund, travel fund, and my fun fund. All of these are basically sinking funds in my savings account within my bank. Starting from the top, my property fund is first. I budgeted $600 for October to go into this. I ended up saving $945, which is fantastic. This property fund is basically me saving up for a down payment on my first house. So I have this sinking fund, $945 going into it this month. That's a big win. Next up is my emergency fund. I budgeted $820. That's basically to get it back up to $10,000 where I want it to be for the time being. So I'm able to get that back to a healthy amount this month, which is great. And then my travel fund, I like to put some money in this every single month just to save up for a vacation that's obviously going to come in the future because I love to travel. So $200 a month. And I managed to hit that goal in October. And then finally, fun fund. So this is a relatively new to me concept. So I usually kind of splurge on things if I just see something that I want. I typically have the money just lying around in either my checkings account or my savings account. And so I'll just buy it because like I already have the money, why not? But that can be kind of detrimental because I like really expensive things. And so instead of just buying things because I usually have the money, I'm going to set up a fun fund where I put money in every month. And then as soon as I have enough money in this account to buy something, then I get to go buy it. So $50 a month is what I've decided on for now. And that's what I'm going to be doing in the month of October. So that brings October's budget to a close. As you can see, I've got some nice charts to show, where my money came in, where my money went out. It looks like I managed to save 43.7% of my net income, which is pretty good. It doesn't always happen like this. It's not always that high of a percentage, but this month was a little bit better than most. So very happy with that. Now, let's move on to my November budget. So moving over to my budget planning spreadsheet, as you can see, we have the column for November, and we just fill out these, and then those will get transported over to my budget dashboard in order to track it throughout the month. So starting with income for the month of November, this is pretty smooth across the board. It's going to be $3,850 plus or minus a handful of cents. And then I like to put 0 for miscellaneous because I don't think I have any scheduled miscellaneous income coming in this month. Now moving on to expenses, rent is the same every single month. That's going to be $998. Utilities also going to be in a similar boat at $150. Now for groceries, it's usually I like to budget about $300 a month. I usually do 2 big grocery hauls per month, and then I meal prep. So my grocery bill is really on the cheaper side, but it's Thanksgiving in November, and so I'm sure I'm gonna have to, make some dishes for a couple of different Thanksgivings that I'm gonna be going to. And so let's bump this up to $350 for November. Next up is dining. This is a category that I would like to spend less money on, but I like to go out to, breweries or get food with some friends. And so it's kind of inevitable that this will end up being a couple $100. So I like to do $200, and I would like to stay under that at all times, which I usually am able to do. Next is gas. This is pretty easy, $75 a month. I'm almost always under that unless I'm doing some type of road trip or it's a big driving month, but $75 a month usually is pretty safe bet. Then for entertainment, for this month, I've got a couple of things that I think I want to buy in this category. Number one, I really want to play Elden Ring, and so my buddy's been begging me to get that for quite some time now, so I think I'm going to get that. And I also want to see the new Demon Slayer movie because I'm a little late to the party, but I love that show, and so the movie is only in theaters, so I think I'm going to go to that as well. So with those things combined, it's probably going to be around $100, so let's just do that. And I'm not too fussed about this. I like to, go do things if they're available to me and they don't cost a crazy amount of money. So if I end up spending $150, it's really not the end of the world. And I usually make up for that in the miscellaneous category anyway, that we'll see in a couple of minutes. But next up is subscriptions. As I said before, this used to be $34 a month. Now it's going to be about $111 with that new gym subscription. Then for travel, I'm not going anywhere in the month of November, so this is going to be a $0 mark, which is nice because the previous couple of months we've been planning and, booking things, and it's been quite expensive in the travel category. So it's nice that I don't have to pay anything in the month of November. Then for health and beauty, I should probably spend a lot of money on this category, but I don't. That's going to be the same thing for the month of November. So I'm going to do 0 for that. Similar story for insurance, also going to be 0. For gifts, I'm also going to put $50 for this month just to be safe because, if I want to get someone a gift, it's nice to have the money set aside for that. Then miscellaneous, we're going to skip for now. We're going to go to savings and then come back to it based on how much money we have left over. So for my savings buckets, I have a couple of things listed here. So let's go through them one by one. My Roth IRA is already maxed out for 2025, so that's going to be 0. My brokerage account, I don't really need to put any money in that right now because my current goals are elsewhere. So we're going to be 0 for that. Emergency fund, finally got to a point where I want it to be in the month of October. And so we're going to be $0 for that. Property fund, this is where the majority of my money is going to go. So let's skip that for now. Let's move on to my travel fund. I like to put $200 a month in here because I have a trip coming up in December going to New York with my girlfriend and my sister. So that should be a good time. So I want to save up a little bit of money for that. Checking overflow, don't need anything for that at the moment. And fund, it's going to be $50 a month, just like it was last month. Okay, so that leaves us with the property fund. And at the top, we can see that I have just over $1,500 to budget for this. And honestly, I think I'm just going to throw the vast majority of that into my property funds and then put the rest towards my miscellaneous expenses category. So the way I like to do it is just kind of round to the nearest 100. And so for my property fund, I'm going to see if I can save $1,500 in the month of November into this account alone. And then for that remaining $66, we'll just put in the miscellaneous category to catch any expenses that come up that aren't that big, but I'd like to have money set aside in order to cover those. So now that that form has been completed, we can go back over to the budget dashboard. We can change the period to the current month, which is November. And we can see that all of those values got automatically populated over here, and we're ready to start budgeting the month of November. So yeah, that's how I run through my budget at the beginning of every single month. It's quite simple. This spreadsheet I have right here is super nice. I actually just copied some guy off YouTube. I'll link the video that I copied in the description of this video. It was like an 11-hour video if you want to do that. Otherwise, I'm sure that there's a lot of even better ones that you can purchase somewhere out there. I don't have anything to sell you, but I'm sure you'll find something that you like. But yeah, my budget's pretty simple, just a couple of categories that are recurring expenses each and every month. And I don't like to overcomplicate things. I just sit down for 10, 15 minutes, just look over how I'm doing, where I want to go in the future, and just go from there. But that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope it was entertaining, or maybe you found something useful out of it. I don't know. If you did, though, maybe leave a like. I'd greatly appreciate that. But with all that being said, hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.